a bit of a signposting. Should you be distressed or in immediate immediate need to speak to someone, there are organizations and numbers you could reach to talk to someone. For example, in the UK, you can reach out to Samaritans on 116123. Or you could text text shout to the number 85258, or you could try an app called Hub of Hope that can help you to search for local mental health support. There are many organizations and people who are willing to help, so please do not suffer in silence. I will pass to Jennifer to talk about her area of expertise.
Sure. We have a couple of things available in Sweden, although sadly not as many as there are in the US or in the UK. The biggest organization is Mind, and you can reach them at 90101. Of course, if it is an emergency, it's 112. And they also have a chat that's available 24 hours a day. And then the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is in the US. So let me just move. Oh, and that should actually be, no, that's 211 if you need support. 911 would be for an emergency situation. You could also call 1-800-273-TALK. And there is also a chat option available if you're online.
Great. Yeah. And let's start our event. So I will pass to Jennifer to tell us a little bit about herself, and then it will be my turn and we will take it from there.
Sure. So I'm Jennifer. I am living in Sweden. I've been here for about 20 years now, but I'm actually American. I have had problems, suffered with mental health issues probably since 16 years old or so was the first time that I actually got help from a therapist. And that was triggered from a sexual assault. And ever since that point, you know, I've had quite deep depressive periods during my life that have come and gone, triggered by things, on every couple of years, it seems, but the depression is always there. It's just a matter of how deep and dark the depression is. In addition, I was diagnosed with ADD when I was 40 years old, or just about 40, which is considered, I think it's a pretty late diagnosis. And let's see, what else? I am an artist. I consider myself a mental health artist. Everything that I do is to smash the stigma of mental health. I work mainly with mixed media, and I create art that is, some people would perceive it perhaps as uncomfortable to look at because it raises a lot of questions. I'm very loud and vocal about the issue. I'm very open about my background. Because I feel that if I could reach even one person and make them feel even a little bit better, you know, help give them some courage to be able to speak out and realize that, you know, we have a diagnosis, but that doesn't define us. That's like the least interesting thing about us. So many other aspects that are so much more important. And that's why I do what I do and will continue doing it. So.
It's nice to have you here, Jennifer. Well, my name is Dorota. I perceive myself as artist. However, I haven't been an artist for all my life. I turned to art after a massive mental health breakdown with a suicidal attempt after giving birth to my last child. It was a very difficult period of time in my life, and I was, offered help and support from GP and counseling. However, at some point, as you know how it is, you finish the allowance of the talking therapy you can have, and then there is a big question, okay, what next? My therapist was brilliant. The first therapist that I can, attach that word to, because the previous therapists were absolute nonsense and never offered any help or release. But that particular person was brilliant, and she wasn't happy for me to be left alone. She said that I'm not ready, but she couldn't change the fact that, there was a waiting list for another lot of talking therapy. So she offered for me to join some art therapy sessions run by an organization that offered counseling as well. This charity is called Mums Aid, and they support moms and moms-to-be with postnatal depression. I have joined those sessions, although I was very skeptic. But, it was said like, but at least you will go there once a week and have contact with moms like you who have similar problems, and maybe at least this will help, if nothing else. And I said, okay, let's try. At the beginning, I was just making and creating very dark blots on the paper. But one day, something opened up in me. And then I started to see color, and the first image of color emerged. And then I started to do more and more. And because I was very prolific in those sessions, the facilitator of those sessions encouraged me to try at home. She said, just do something at home, even 5 minutes, whatever, a doodle, angry drawing or a sad draw, whatever you want, just try to do it every day, at least for 5-10 minutes. And I did. I bought myself a sketchbook and some materials, because during those sessions, I fell in love with inks. Oh my God, I just love inks. The unpredictability of them, and this that you can't really give them a control you sometimes urge for. It was something that was really, really encouraging my creativity. So I started doing that, and then I find out that, actually I feel much better and much more confident expressing myself via images than words. So I started to create images alongside all the struggles I experienced. And at some point, I was encouraged, like, why are you keeping it to yourself? And I was like, well, who would like to see it? It's like, it's just so dark and it's so sad, but, with little encouragement and boost here and boost there, I opened the Instagram account, joined a lovely United Art Space hub. And this is how we met with Jennifer. And, the teaching there about, letting yourself to express yourself, and, that everybody is really an artist. If you want to be, you are one, gave me the confidence. And I started to reach out to others who may use art in similar way, or may have some mental health problems like I do. Because this is what I found, that I was so greatly misunderstood by people who don't have any mental health issues. And I had a need to engage with others who understand, don't judge, and, that I could feel normal, if there is any normal, you know what I mean? Because they understand, they went through similar things, and they don't freak out and don't perceive me as a weirdo. So I then joined a Time to Change campaign, and this was a real life changer. I met so many wonderful people, so many wonderful champions who, fight every day to break stigma, and who notice that my art, is really something that helps them to express themselves. Some people tell me that my images, express something that they can't really describe with words. And, those encouragements led me to where I am now. So I proudly call myself artist, although I have no artistic education.
Yeah, and I think it's really really common that people who don't have an artistic education are afraid to call themselves artists. But it's my belief that, you know, if you're sitting there with a pen and you're doodling on paper, if you're creating, if it's through dance or song or, you know, music or writing, you're an artist, you're a creator. And it's my highest belief that art heals. It definitely brings us to a place where, you know, it's easier to express things through what we can put out there creatively than we can necessarily speak.
Yeah, there's a huge science behind, you know, the healing properties of art, and this topic is really a kind of river topic. You know, the deeper you dig, the more you find. But you know, from personal experience, I just find that engaging in any creative activity, and believe me, it doesn't need to be a big masterpiece. On the contrary, I work full time. I hardly have, you know, whole day to indulge myself in this, what I would like to do. I would like to paint.
And a toddler.
So yeah, but you know, you can find 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there to do little things. So I doodle a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. To the extent that I was always questioned. I don't know if you doodle as well, but I do doodle during meetings. And nowadays when they are virtual, because I have even more problem focusing on many faces and whatsoever, I very often doodle, and I was so many times told off at work that it's disrespectful and whatsoever. So then I was forced to research, and I found the article about the doodling actually help you focus. And there was a study done on the groups of people who were asked to doodle during listening to some very boring kind of, you know, information giving. And those who doodled during that, remember, I don't know what was the number, but it was about 30 to 40% more information than those who didn't doodle. So doodle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to let somebody in. I doodle constantly during meetings. I always have. I have a 12-year-old daughter with an ADD diagnosis, and one of the things that they recommended is that she actually doodles during her lessons at school. Unfortunately, her teachers don't necessarily agree with it. So that's something I've had to take up with administration more than once. You know, she needs to be allowed, because that's the way that it's an easier way for her to process things. Some kids sit with their fidget spinners or their, what are they called? I always call them scrunchies, and it's always
the kind of
name.
fidget toys,
or the squeezy things. But doodling works best for her.
But this is sad, you know. I perceive it as sad because I have also very hyper son, and I was called to school many times about that he's, you know, playing with things with his pen or whatever, and I don't understand why is it perceived as disruptive when you know he's trying to focus and he's just using the coping mechanism, but unless they hear, oh yeah, he has, you know, attention deficit disorder or whatever, then it's perceived as rude and misbehavior, which is sad really, because we know so much nowadays, but we still ignore so much. To, you know, and we do not facilitate the environments that help people to function. So that's very sad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see how the system is really somewhat failing my daughter here in Sweden, because accommodations are not necessarily made, unfortunately. And while she might have a list of things that she's supposed to be entitled to, she goes to a private school and they are able to say no to those things. So I definitely see her struggling with these things on a absolutely daily basis. And speaking from experience, you know, because I wasn't diagnosed with ADD until I was, you know, 40, 41, I struggled with these things my entire life. I never made good grades in school. When it came to college or university, I went to 4 different universities before I got my degree. I believed from a very early age that I would never succeed at anything. I would compare myself to everybody else. I never felt good enough. Absolutely stupid, worthless. I couldn't do art. I couldn't do math. I couldn't do anything as far as I was concerned. And back in the 70s and 80s, ADD and ADHD was not really considered something that girls were diagnosed with. It was a boy thing. Yes. So I was always kind of passed off as the quiet, shy girl sitting in the back of the classroom. But that's more because I wouldn't dare to ask questions. I would just sit there in silence and suffer because I never wanted to be seen as somebody that didn't understand. I was afraid that I was the only one. And because my diagnosis came so late in life, I was never really given any tools on how to do things. And it's still something that I battle with every single day in my life. I am unfortunately very unstructured, and I have a hard time, sticking to a structure with things. And so the earlier that kids can be diagnosed, the better, and obviously, and and just getting as
how do you use now art to help yourself? What do you do?
Well, art is a huge part of my life. I mean, I need to create. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. I need to create. It is my therapy. It is my sanity. It is the way that I can express myself, without using words. I will say that a lot of times when I start to paint a piece, quite often I will journal on the canvas before I even get started. Anything that I'm thinking or feeling, it can be like, screw this day, or, anything that I'm feeling. It can be something long, something short, and then I just cover it with paint. And that kind of starts the whole therapy process for me of getting all of those emotions out onto the page, onto the canvas, and being able to move on a little bit. It's absolutely saved me a number of times in my life. Living in Sweden, therapy is not that accessible unless you go private, and that requires a great deal of money. So it's definitely something that I have found is the most healing thing that I've ever done. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just had to activate captions as there was a request. Right. I completely forgot. My apologies, Therese. I knew that you needed, and it just evaporated from my brain. I'm so sorry. Yeah. But it should be now working. If it's not working, Therese, on your screen, then you need to. Oh, it is. Thumb up. That's great. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
I will warn you that I do have awful accent, and those machines very often misinterpret what I'm saying. So apologies in advance.
It also misinterprets what I say. And I'm a native English speaker, so they're not that smart.
Yeah. So yeah, you mentioned something about covering the page. It's funny how sometimes I do find a kind of release in doing something. I have this, I am called short-tempered person, and apparently my hair color, although it's not natural, it's well chosen. Because I have these angry outbursts, and they are usually the result of the illness that because I cope with so much and struggle with so many things, but I'm trying to keep it at bay, that it piles and piles and piles and piles, and when it reaches certain level, it just gets out in anger outburst. And since I started to engage with art, sometimes I do very angry scribble, or, just splash the paint angrily, just mix it. But it's funny that very often when I'm doing it, at some point something emerges from it. It's like, I didn't plan to do anything. I just planned to get it out, splash, draw scribble. And then at some point I'm looking at it and I start to see an image. Does it happen to you?
Yeah, I do a lot of figurative mixed media women paintings, not in my most recent collection, but in my previous collection. And I start by just layers and layers and layers. So I can spend days just laying down different layers with different materials. And then it'll get to the point where I'm taking the canvas and I'm turning it in all sorts of directions, upside down and to the side and from across the room and up close. And suddenly I just see a woman that has, emerged in the painting. And then I paint her. You see something that resembles eyes or, where a mouth is. And it's like, it's just magic. It's there. It's there. Just one thing that I thought of really quick that we forgot to say in the beginning. Feel free to use the comment section to write anything you want, comments or questions. And then, of course, at the very end, we're going to have a QA session. So we will, respond to anything. And at least for me, I'm an open book. I think that's part of my ADD. So feel free, if there's anything that you're wondering, feel free to just write it in there.
Yeah. So I find, that you mentioned it at some point, at the very beginning, I think, that when engaging in art, why I think it's healing, because for me, I have a constant chatter in my brain, constant chatter. I do speak two languages, and I sometimes picture two people, in my brain shouting over in different language, and I'm sometimes getting so confused. And I tried all possible things to relax. I have trouble relaxing. I tried meditation, I tried yoga, although I enjoy yoga because of the kind of, it's good for my body and whatsoever. The breathing aspect of it, oh my God, I either hold my breath or hyperventilate. I can't follow the instruction. So I found that, the only moment when I receive probably the similar state to meditative state is when I am engaged in painting. And to the extent that sometimes the time passes and I'm not realizing that it's already that. And it really happened last Thursday, I think, or Friday, whatever. I don't remember what day it was. That I was painting. I was working on a piece that I was commissioned to do, and I enjoyed it so much. And at some point, my partner came back home, and I was like chatting to him, how the day passed, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're home! Oh my God, you're home! It means that it's, oh my God, I missed a meeting. I completely missed the time."
Yeah.
So does it happen to you that you just? Yeah.
All the time. I run a lot of live studio sessions online. And even today, it was supposed to go from 2 to 4, and I noticed the clock at 5:30. And nobody said anything. I mean, everybody was enjoying it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely get into these moments of flow and hyper focus. And I mean, it's like time just whoosh. We had a situation last week. I don't think she's on, but one of the women that joins my studio sessions is a teacher. And she said, I can only be here for an hour because I've got a classroom full of people. I need to go teach a class. Suddenly it was 4 o'clock and I was ending the session. And she was like, I completely forgot my class. She left the whole class without a teacher, so it definitely, I don't think they minded, but yeah, definitely it takes you to or it can take you to a really good peaceful place where everything else just kind of disappears.
Yeah, it does. I started to use my alarm and timer very, very much in my life because of it, to be able to, show up at meetings and whatsoever. So yeah, this is probably a good tip for any of you who would like to engage in some creativity, that if you find this flow state, you may need to set your alarm if you need to be somewhere at a certain point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. Yeah, we have lovely comments, you know, in the chat. So we will be looking at it at some point. But I think that it is a time to perhaps start our little exercise. So I will be performing first. And you do not need to have any skills whatsoever. I just need to position my computer in a funny way, because the software that I tried to install is not working for some reason, so I need to improvise. So I will lower my screen and direct some light here. So I have a piece of card, really. You can use anything you wish. Because I'm working with Sharpie, I will find my piece of cardboard to put underneath, because they bleed through and it stains everything. So what I will be showing you, it will be something that I do very often. Maybe I will reposition it to show you some examples of the doodles that I do during meetings, for example. So here is the doodle. I just was, you know, doing lines, and at some point, like we were talking with Jennifer, that it emerged that I could create two faces out of it. So I did, and I called it My Baby's Kisses, because I was missing her at that point. She was first time back at Childminder. At some point, I was, you know, doodling during the meeting, and I did a little teddy bear. Don't know if light is all right. Yeah, that will be better. So here's a teddy bear. I was attending a therapy, and we were talking about different emotions and how they affect different parts of the body. And I had a difficulty, you know, making a note about it, because we had to feed back to the rest of the group. So I created a mind map, and these emerged with different colors symbolizing different emotions. So it's very easy, actually. Although it may look very difficult, I will show you that it's absolutely easy peasy, and there is no right or wrong. Light on it. So perhaps I will, because it's like spring is coming, and I'm very fond of trees, nature, and whatsoever, because it helps me greatly. However, recently the anxiety levels reached the point that I am even finding difficult to go outdoors and enjoy what I used to enjoy. So I have an urge to make a picture of a tree. So it's very easy. I always start from a couple of lines. So I will draw a trunk, and from trunk, some lines in whatever direction. Yeah, it stains everything. So what I will be showing you, it will be something that I do very often. Maybe I will reposition it to show you some examples of the doodles that I do during meetings, for example. So here is the doodle. I just was, you know, doing lines, and at some point, like we were talking with Jennifer, that it emerged that I could create two faces out of it. So I did, and I called it My Baby's Kisses, because I was missing her at that point. She was first time back at Childminder. At some point, I was, you know, doodling during the meeting, and I did a little teddy bear. Don't know if light is all right. Yeah, that will be better. So here's a teddy bear. I was attending a therapy, and we were talking about different emotions and how they affect different parts of the body. And I had a difficulty, you know, making a note about it, because we had to feed back to the rest of the group. So I created a mind map, and these emerged with different colors symbolizing different emotions. So it's very easy, actually. Although it may look very difficult, I will show you that it's absolutely easy peasy, and there is no right or wrong. Light on it. So perhaps I will, because it's like spring is coming, And I'm very fond of trees, nature, and whatsoever, because it helps me greatly. However, recently the anxiety levels reached a point that I am even finding difficult to go outdoors and enjoy what I used to enjoy. So I have an urge to make a picture of a tree. So it's very easy. I always start from a couple of lines. So I will draw a trunk, and from trunk some lines in whatever direction. Yeah, so I'm not really paying much attention what I'm doing in terms of how beautiful it is. I'm just doodling. I'm just doing lines. So when I have those lines, yeah, you see that they are nothing artistic really. This what helps me greatly, that when I see those sharp angles of the lines, they remind me about the spikes and anxiety fluctuations that I'm experiencing. So I find that streamlining those lines gives me a lot of relaxation. So this is what I would do. I will be now making them a bit round. So I am rounding the, I don't know if you can see, I am then coloring here with the black marker the angle, the sharp corner. I'm making it round, yeah? And I do that with every corner that is too sharp for me. So I will go everywhere here and make it streamlined, curvy, whatever you want to call it. I may add another line because I don't like that it's so much space here. And every corner I am making in a kind of oval shape, I would say, curvy shape. For some reason, I don't like pointy bits. And when this is all covered, and when you color it in, it really become a beautiful piece of art that I sometimes display, you know, in my home, or put in my journal. You know, having a journal with you know, your sketches, doodles, maybe some phrases that speak to you, quotes that you found, you know, beautiful or inspiring, really helps my mental health, and I believe that it does help others as well, as I know many people do journal nowadays. So I will be going like that on and on. Some people do listen to some relaxing music during that, but I personally love the sound of the Sharpie on the paper, although I know that there are so many who hate it. But I don't mind. So I am adding additional lines and making them curvy. So as you can see, that part looks like that. And I will go on and on until all of it is smooth and streamlined and nice to my eyes. And I find myself that because it does not require much of my, how to say, cognitive functions, because I really do it, you know, what I'm doing. I'm not doing an art piece. I'm just, you know, connecting lines really. I can do it during meetings without losing anything from the meeting really. And, you know, and it gives me a great kind of fixation, I would say. I so fixate on it that very often the meeting finishes, but if I haven't finished, I will then stay on the task. And when it's finished, it gives me so much, you know, joy and satisfaction, because I really love how they look like. And the satisfaction from the fact that, you know what, I didn't plan anything nice, really. I just wanted to relax, and it still looks nice. So you can do even an abstract version. If you don't want to do the tree, just do a couple of lines on your page and streamline them and color in whatever colors, you know, speak to you. because colors you also can associate with certain emotions. So depending on your state of mind or, need at the moment, you can focus on the colors that provide you with, I don't know, relaxation, with peace of mind, or something, maybe remind you something nice. So yeah, I will just finish those few branches or whatever we can call it. And then I will just show you quickly how nice it looks like when few of them get colored. And this is what we will do. We promised ourselves I'm sorry, I wanted to say Jasmine, Jennifer, I'm sorry, because Jasmine is my daughter, and she's always on my mind because I can hear some voices. That is why her name popped in. But we promised ourselves when talking with Jennifer that we will finish those, even if we don't finish it in the session, and we will post it to you as our little gift after that event. So I will now color in with, I use, what are they called? Felt pens. Because for those doodles, mostly like if you have little times, felt pens cover the space very quickly and efficiently, and you find yourself that you don't stress that. Have little times, felt pens cover the space very quickly and efficiently, and you find yourself that you don't stress that. Crayons, for example, not always cover very well. So I then cover those white spaces, and I'm using green here and there because, I associate it with nice trees and leaves. And this what is beautiful, that, I did come out of the line. You don't need to bother, but I am this kind of, perfectionist, and I'm not happy with it. So I will just make the black line a bit thicker, and it doesn't matter.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? Because we have somebody asking if you can repeat the materials in the chat.
Oh, okay. So I'm using a card. So it's a bit thicker than normal paper. However, I often use photocopier paper because this is only the thing that is nearby, and I can grab at the very short notice when I'm heading to the meeting. So paper doesn't, matter. And I'm using permanent art markers with alcohol ink, but any felt pen really will do if it has this both ends, so thick end, I don't know if it's visible, and a pointy for smaller spaces if you wish to cover smaller spaces. So felt pens greatly work because, like I said, you do really one move and it covers most of the area. So that way, if you are a person who may be impatient, like I am very often, and I want to finish things quickly, you will find that this gives you great satisfaction because you can do it quickly. You can do it, look how quickly I'm covering those spaces, and already few of them are covered. I will go also for some orangey bit. I love trees in autumn, for example. Although I don't appreciate cold, I love the colors of autumn. That one is a bit running out. This shows you how much I abuse them. So I will go for a different type of orange, maybe that one. And recently also my daughter started to copy me, and she recently used some of my supplies. Therefore, they are at the end of their lifespan. Okay, so covering that. And I will go on and on until I cover whole the page, because I am like that. I love the pages to be covered. And I will be continuing that, for after the event, and definitely will send you the end outcome for you to see. And if you create something now or after the event, do share with us. We would love to see it. So we will also provide you with some email addresses you could send it to, or you can send it on Instagram via messaging service there. So I hope that it inspires you in some way. So I will now reposition my camera, and I believe that Jennifer will be also showing us a technique.
I could not get it set up very well. I'm not in my studio, unfortunately, and I don't have my my normal equipment. So this is the best I could get it, unfortunately. First thing that I would like to say is that when I sit down, and my aim with art is to release or relieve some of my anxiety or stress or anything that's going on in my life, I start with a really, really simple breathing exercise. And I am going to show you. Now, I'm really, really horrible at breathing and talking at the same time. So I'm going to talk. I guess I'll be breathing, but I won't be doing the breathing exercise.
Yeah,
and just show you.
Talk, we breathe, yeah? This is the rule.
I'll talk, you breathe. And the other thing I wanted to say is I always, this is really hot, but I typically have, you know, a lit candle near me as well, because I just, for me, a lot of it is about creating the right environment. So always a candle. I always have music on that inspires me and that calms me. And then I try to be mindful about my breathing. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for 4 seconds, release or exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, inhale for 4 seconds, so on and so forth. And what I try to do is make a representation of this as I'm doing it. So here I'd be breathing 1, 2, 3, 4, holding 2, 3, 4, exhaling 2, 3, 4, holding 2, 3, 4. And I can see that my hand is completely covering. So let me try and position this another, yeah, maybe that's a little bit better so that you guys can see. Yeah, and I will do it for a couple of minutes, or at least a really large, maybe an A4 piece of paper, and try to do the entire paper. And I think generally speaking, my breaths are a little bit more rounded. And my hand is still in the way. I think I need to come from the other side.
Yeah,
perhaps.
That would be better.
But now my lamp is on top of the cord, of course. Let's see. There we go. We'll do it like that. That'll do for today. Anyway, so I work with affirmations quite a lot. A lot of that has to do with me having low self-esteem, and a lot, you know, with my depression. So I have actually created an entire deck of affirmation cards, and rather than buying them or just listening to meditations with affirmations, I have found that if I look for affirmations that actually resonate with me, they're a lot more effective. And so in doing so, I have 2 different options here. This is just a regular index card, you know, really, really thin, flimsy, but they all come in the exact same size and they're extremely cheap. Alternately, I have watercolor paper here, which I've taken from an A4 sheet and just cut down into nearly identical sizes, but I'm sure they're not perfect. This can be done with any type of watercolor paint. This is a really inexpensive one that I have. It came with, I think, 4 different palettes or so, and you just kind of stack them together, you know, or you can go with, you know, more professional watercolors. It doesn't really matter. And then the other thing that I tend to use are pens. I use Posca pens because they're my favorite, but I know that not everybody has this at home, so you can use any sort of felt tip pen, would work fine. And lastly, you just need a brush, and it doesn't matter what kind of brush you use, anything goes. So to begin with, I just want to show you a couple of my favorite techniques. And the most important thing is to not be too set on your outcome. You know, this is an exercise to relax and de-stress, and just kind of let go of control. And the way that I like to start is I have a water brush here, but you can, like I said, you can use any type of brush. I fill it with water or get the tip quite saturated, and I might just make a circle, just a circle. And I try holding the brush actually quite, you know, high to the top so that I have little control, less control over it. And then let's say we want to use hot pink. I'll just get some on the brush and then I'll watch the magic happen. I just dip it in. Just dip and dab and let it move. It's going to do its own thing. And, you know, letting yourself not control it is actually really, really relaxing. And then I'll take a second color. And for some reason, I really like the way orange and yellow, or sorry, orange and hot pink work together. So I'm just gonna do that and just dip it all over the place. Maybe go in with some more of the first color. And if you just give it a minute or two, it will dry and the colors will bloom and you know, mix together. So sometimes I'll just do, you know, several circles because I find that very relaxing. So that's one thing. Yeah, and just let them do their thing. I'll come back to it in a minute so that you can see what's happened. Another thing that I like to do is just take water and just make, I mean, basically covering the entire thing with water. No thought needed. No thought is necessary at all. And this is kind of neat, but if you just take your paint, don't think about anything, just move the brush all over the paper. And then we can take, let me take some of this bright green. Add some of that. I'm almost out of this green. I think I must like it. And with these more inexpensive watercolors, they come with a great range of colors, I have to say, and I don't use them nearly as sparingly as I do, you know, my regular watercolors. But this is something that I really enjoy doing. Then you can take, you know, some purple and just kind of splotch that in. And then a neat effect with watercolor is actually to take some cling wrap, some plaque wrap, kind of scrunch it up, make it all wrinkly, and attach it to the watercolor. The scrunchier up, is that a word? No, definitely not. The messier, the better. We're gonna set that aside and let it dry. Let's see, another thing, when I'm angry, I really like to splatter paint. So here I'm just filling up the brush with as much pigment as I can and just like slamming it down.
I love that too, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to get it out. And then, you know, again, I'll usually use several colors, and you can go lighter, you know, do smaller splashes as well, just by tapping it gently. whatever you want to do. The thing with art is that there are no wrong ways to do things. You just go with what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and just remember to breathe. The next thing that I would do, there's another thing that you can do, and I actually don't have the right kind of salt. I tried to do one earlier, but I don't have good salt here. Usually I would use like sea salt, or what's it called? Like the flaky salt, the
crystals,
oh
crystals.
yeah,
Rocky,
yeah, exactly. And it makes a really cool effect if you leave the salt on the watercolor until it dries and then you brush it off. But once I tried to do it here, but it didn't exactly work because it was this was just regular
yeah, because I
table.
think salt lightens up the pigment, doesn't it? So if there was, yeah,
it does, and you can see here it's kind of pushed
yeah,
the paint away, so you can get these really cool effects. Now of course none of this has dried yet, but I can show you, this is one I've done with the bubbles. So you can see everything always dries a little bit lighter than it looks when you first put it onto the paper when it's wet. And then what I would do, here's one where I covered the entire thing. So now it's like, the magic of television when they take the baked cake out of the oven and, voila, it's done. So what I would do now is basically take one that has dried and write my answer on my pillow, because I spend a lot of time napping, or maybe even, right on the front of my computer, because I spend an awful lot of time on the laptop. And, and then I might, for example, get out some more pens. And I don't know, let's see, this is maybe not, you're not going to be able to see yellow. Something I find really calming is dots. I don't know, let me see, can you see this?
yeah.
Not that well, but I will make a lot of dots and just breathe and listen to the music and make little patterns with the dots. And this is something that I see in my art all the time. I think I have dots everywhere. Not quite sure what they represent, but for me they're very, very soothing. And you can do all sorts of patterns with those as well. And let's see, the plastic wrap, of course, is not dry, but this is one I did a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just see, it almost looks like, how can I?
Yeah, we can see it. It looks great.
It looks kind of like shards of, I'm moving the wrong way, shards of glass almost.
Yeah.
So this is, a really easy, fun thing to do that doesn't take a lot of brain power. Something in just the movement with your hand and losing the need to control the medium, just letting it flow however it wants to flow, trying out different color combinations. Like I said, there's absolutely no way to do it wrong. And then, leaving yourself with some sort of message that resonates with you so that you can remind yourself, I am calm, I am worthy, I am enough, I'm doing the best I can, I'm a warrior. Anything that resonates.
Yeah, it could be a quote of
Absolutely.
somebody famous said and resonates with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or even, a love note to yourself, something you would say to a friend, because I find often we're a lot kinder to our friends than we are to ourselves, and we should really be kinder to ourselves. So why not leave yourself a little note to brighten your day? But so that was my quick little demo.
That's great. Yeah, I think that it would serve greatly as a reminder. And those techniques that you show, it's amazing, isn't it? That it's like such a simple thing, like putting dots not only can provide you with some relaxation, but also create something that is, aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
So really, it serves on so many levels, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the thing that really, that I really enjoy is walking away with something that gives me a positive, and it's not only relaxing, I'm going to move my computer, sorry, but that also gives you a positive message to yourself, because again, I think we need to be kinder to ourselves. And I just made myself huge, didn't I? And I can also see that I have paint that's splashed on my face, which is pretty typical.
Yeah.
I constantly walk around with paint splatter all over me.
Yeah, I remember one situation when I was engaging with kind of dark painting, and because I work with inks and I have this awful mannerism of trying a color sometimes on my wrist here.
Yeah.
And I'm right-handed, but left hand is very often used to push my hair,
Yeah.
away and stuff like that. And I was engaging, and my baby was then sleeping. So when I heard the doorbell, I just sprang to action, to
Right.
open the door before she wakes up.
Sure.
And
sure.
when I opened the door, I was surprised that the delivery man just threw the parcel at me, like literally threw it. And I was like, oh my God, that's rude. And then when I was closing the door and turned my posture towards to the right, there was a big mirror. And I looked like a shamanic person during the trance. Not only my hair was all over the place, I
That's
had
awesome.
black smudges on my face. No wonder he thought that he probably approached somebody who wasn't too right at that point.
Right. I think charcoal is the worst. I mean, whenever
yes.
I'm working in charcoal, and then, you get an itch or whatever, you get these black streaks everywhere, and totally unaware of it. I actually made an Instagram reel or story or whatever it was, where my daughter splattered green paint on my face, because, it's such a normal thing for me to have paint all over my face, although it's not body paint, that I thought she would enjoy doing that. And she absolutely did. She thought it was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Yeah.
Splashing paint or inks or whatsoever, it's another kind of technique that, because of those movements, right?
That's right.
You are like shaking off certain emotions. Most of them really do it mindfully. That you think about something. I am anxious. I want to shake it off, and
That's right.
you splash the paint. Of course, you need to have environment for it, because certain aspects of my house are really nicely decorated with splashes. So if you have expensive decor, maybe do that in the garden or something like that.
Right.
But I find it amazing. The same like drawing with a big movements on a huge piece of paper. I don't know if you ever tried it, but drawing not with your wrist but with your whole arm.
The whole arm,
mostly doing circles. I find it amazing and very relaxing.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that I do is I will have a canvas or whatever it is that I'm working on. I'll apply the paint quite thick, and then I'll just grab, a stick or a back of a pen and just make, scribble all over that paint. And that's a fantastic way to get some of the frustration out as well. Not quite as, you can't really breathe into that as well, but it's certainly a good release.
Yeah. Well, I'm very curious if anybody would like to share the outcomes, or maybe engage with asking us some questions. If there is anything, I don't know if there is anything in the chat. Oh, Fiona posted to me some link, but I'm not sure I can open it now because this requires login to Instagram, I see. But I think she found you with some smudges.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't see the message, but.
Oh yeah, because it's probably a private one. That is why.
Okay.
Oh, maybe that is why. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will have a look at it later. So, we showed few techniques, but also, I think we talked about many more actually. And this is what I find myself often when engaging in any artistic or creative activity, that when I talk about it, I just want to share so much that I'm sharing more than I even planned to. So hopefully some of those are useful to our audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, is there anyone that wants to share anything that they've...
Yeah.
Okay, let me go ahead. Oh, two of you. Okay, wait, Stacy. Hold on one second. I've clicked on ask to unmute, I think.
Yes, you can unmute yourselves as well.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, there. Let me
back on mute.
Oh, did I put her back on mute?
Probably. Yeah.
Are you able to unmute yourself?
Right, I've unmuted myself. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch anything.
I just wanted to say that what I quite liked about this for me listening to you talking and going through those drawings is I don't, as an artist, give myself a lot of permission to experiment and make a mess and enjoy the processes.
Yeah.
So like if I get a piece of paper, I'm planning to make the perfect piece.
Yeah.
And it's so stressful, and it's like that white canvas fear. So from rather than just my mindset and how I get through my day and anything that bothers me and anxiety, I can have a lot of anxiety around making art as well. So listening to you talking about giving myself permission just to play and to make something, even if it's not important to me, it's really it's been quite, it's affirmed a few things that I've been thinking about recently, because I don't always allow myself to do that. And yeah, that was quite beneficial to me. Thank you very much.
Oh, good.
Yeah, glad
I'll
you
mute
enjoyed.
myself again.
I have a question.
I don't know how.
I have
Mute
a question
me,
for
please.
you. Wait, I've got a question. What type of materials or what medium are you generally working with?
Oh, I work in quite a few. So I paint in oils. That's why I'm quite, oils can be quite expensive, and you're working with turps, so you're scared to use a lot of them. But
Right.
I have recently, I spent a lot of time painting with my 4-year-old. She has these cheap watercolor sets, these really crappy old brushes of mine.
Perfect.
And I'm finding I'm doing some really fun stuff with her, and I find it very hard to free up my process because I spend so much time working so fine and delicately.
Right.
So it's been quite an eye-opener. And then, I did recently go to an exhibition. I specifically went to an exhibition because South Africa, the exhibitions are open at the moment. But it was neuroscientists from the physiological department of a university was working with ethnic groups that make African beadwork, and they were talking about exactly what you talked about at the beginning of your of this live meeting, is the stigma of mental illness. So the physiological department was making beautiful photographs of maps of neural pathways.
Beautiful.
And then they were matching them with this beadwork, which was spot on. The two together looked identical. And that cathartic process of making something, just the constant repetition and things like that is so exciting to me. It's so interesting because it has a cathartic process. What bothered me is that it was a group of people that put some photos up and then a group of people that made some beadwork, but there was no interaction. And, what I like about what you're talking about, going, even after I had a kid, there's a certain amount of stress and anxiety and postpartum depression. I don't even want to go there. 2 or 3 out of 10 moms experience it. And a lot of people don't even realize it and just carry on. And it hits them later. I have a friend who's going through it at the moment, like 6 years after having a kid. And having groups where you can just experience that through a form of art therapy and basically finding cathartic processes is so beneficial and crucial, and it's so overlooked. It's like, so even this university, like, this department didn't even go and spend time making beadwork and understanding the process.
Right.
They took pretty pictures and stuck it on a wall. So where's the conversation if it's not interactive? So yeah, I was really excited to hear this tonight. I was hoping my 4-year-old would go to bed. Oh, and she did.
Yay!
So I could like be part of and just and understand what you were getting at. And even a small thing like making a doodle, you know, even the kids in school doodle, please, like let them doodle. My goodness, I listen to audiobooks while I paint to shut out the internal and external noise,
Right.
because it's everywhere. And you know, kids doing maths at school, how do they shut out the noise so they can concentrate? They can't. And it's fascinating that people just can't make those little connections and allow
Right.
people these processes in order to help them, you know, feel part of and function, because we all deserve that. We deserve to function. But yeah, I've ranted enough. I'm going now.
Thank you for sharing.
I'm a bit OCD. I talk too much.
No, it's perfect. Thank you so much for
Anyway,
sharing.
thank you.
I do want to ask, do you have a link? Do you have a link to that exhibition anywhere? Can you share a link?
I do actually. I will send it to you. I'll send it to you on Instagram.
I'd love to see
I think
it.
it was just, it wasn't a big exhibition. They were just part of an exhibition. And
okay, cool.
I wanted to contact the department and have a go, but I don't know what their situation was. Maybe it was a thing of COVID or funding, or maybe they were just trying to create a starting point.
Perhaps.
And that was it was a good starting point. So
yeah, absolutely.
It needs to go further.
Absolutely. Very cool. Okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I'll let you put yourself back on mute. I know Stacy wanted to share.
I found it.
Cool. All right, Stace, I'm going to try to unmute you, and then I'm going to make you the spotlight.
Yep, I just wanted to show.
Oh, I love it.
Stacy's also an artist. She's another one that's in the Hub, which is United Art Space. And
I think we were on at some event together. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually work minimalist, monochrome, abstract, very straight lines, very sharp. Like you say, you don't like the pointy bits, but mine's very, very pointy bits. But I started doing this, and I got to admit, at the beginning, I was like, I've got no idea where to point my lines. So yeah, but I created it, and
it's gorgeous.
I used something that I picked up in an art shop years ago, and they've been in a drawer all these years. And they are water-soluble wax pastels.
Interesting.
Is that like is that similar to like, oh, what's it called? The Stabilo, oh, what are they called? They're like for kids, technically?
I don't know.
Woodies.
To be honest,
woodies.
These are really difficult to get a hold of now, these ones.
Carandache is made in Switzerland, and they're the most expensive piece of kit you can get, and it's really rare to find them.
Yeah.
So they're twice the price of anything that you want to buy, even like Faber-Castell or whatever, and it's really difficult to get.
Yeah.
So, well done for you getting them and then sticking them out now.
I bought them because I was in an art shop buying stuff anyway, and I saw them. They were at the counter as an
add-on.
Yeah, little add-on bit. So I thought, yeah, I'll just grab those. They might be fun. I never really touched them, but I have been using them a lot recently. But what I have been wanting to do with my work, because it is very black and white, but I managed to get depth and detail just by using black and white, but I want to add color, and just doing this one, because can you see that it's like
amazing?
I've actually gone, I quite like this, and I'm going to start exploring this.
Oh, wonderful.
My current works for future projects, because I
this one, Stace, this one right here.
Yes. Yeah.
In color.
Oh, and I have to say as well, when we were talking earlier about meditating before doing art or to help with the mind, I started meditating about 7 weeks ago, and I just want to put a warning out there that it can trigger some severe reactions, not in a negative way, but there could be reactions that you're not aware of, because I wasn't aware, because something happened to me and now I can't go back. So I experienced something called an awakening. I'm not going to go on too much about it, but I had a full-on awakening, and I'd never heard of it before, didn't know it was going to happen. And when it happened to me, it was like everything was different. Everything had changed. Everything I looked at was different. Everything I felt about things were different. I didn't feel the same about the same things as what I did before. So it was a massive, massive
shift.
I want to say blow, but
Yeah.
not in a negative way. It was just like, whoa, everything's changed. I even looked at my family different. I looked at films different. I looked at food different. Everything was different. And I really wasn't prepared for that. So I just want to say, from that perspective with meditation, just be careful.
But enjoy it as well, because it's such a powerful tool, I think.
Incredibly powerful. And since that's happened, my artwork has just literally started pouring out of me uncontrollably every day, all the time. And if I struggle, I just meditate and out it comes. And I've never done that before.
Amazing.
Wonderful. Thanks, Stacey.
You're doing great, Jennifer. It's amazing.
Is there anybody else who wants to share? No, that's okay.
Karina is sharing.
Oh, Abby.
And Abigail, yeah.
Okay, let me.
Wow, love it.
So,
wow.
I know some of these are absolutely amazing, and I have to say, these are the artists in the group, just in case anybody else is feeling a little bit intimidated. These are all people that are in an art group with both of us. So let's see. Yeah. So you did some dabbing too. Very cool. And your other one was gorgeous.
Thanks. Oh, you can hear me, right? I can talk to you.
I can hear
Hello,
you.
everybody.
And Abby's in South Africa as well, so, and has an exhibit on at the moment. It's still up, isn't it?
It finished last week.
I did it. Okay. Shame.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. I love the white space, the borders that you've left around everything. That's really fantastic.
It was really nice. I liked lots of the things you said. The breathing, you know, I don't think I haven't made the connection with the breathing, and even though I love breath, like I'm a big Oma. You know, I really like the vibration in my body, and I've done lots of things about breath and breathing. So it was nice. I'll do the inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I really like about it, and I forgot to mention, if you're feeling a lot of anxiety, because you're not only counting and doing the breathing, but you're moving your hand, you have that movement, it leaves very little space in our brain for the anxiety, because all of our focus is going somewhere else. And so it's a really good way to just kind of, reduce everything that all the negative things that you're feeling. So it's definitely worth a shot, anytime that you're feeling it.
Very nice. I've got notes here. I think lots of those things are going to be very nice to try. And make time to try them. You know, when I hit my ups and downs aren't as vigorous as they used to be. Right. But things like this, and the rituals of candles, and the rituals of the music and the breath and all those things. So it's just going to add to my toolkit. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Thanks.
Oh, I actually have different playlists, programs on Spotify, depending on my mood, and whether I need uplifting or whether I need calming down, whether Stacey has her jellyfish. I can see. Yeah. Do you watch jellyfish, don't you, Stacey? Just the movement, I think is quite
Yeah.
Quite a calm.
I love jellyfish. Yeah, when I go to aquarium or anything like that, I always fixate and stay there the longest.
Lovely. Yeah. They are lovely. Yeah.
They are very cool. All right, I'm going to put you on mute again. Or actually, can you mute yourself? Because I'm not sure how to do that. And I know there was one more person that wanted to share. Fiona, okay. I'm asking to unmute you. Oh, Fiona's an artist as well, right?
Yeah, depends what the day is.
But I sent you a friend request on Instagram.
I've just accepted it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I was an artist, then I was an architectural student, then I did admin and did absolutely nothing creative. Then I did back to art, social media, and now I'd say I'm a mental health activist and artist.
Bravo.
So yeah, definitely the stigma fighting. I'm one of the Time to Change champions in my local borough. Been doing it for about 11 years. But no, I only did this exercise for the first time today. So I just did a really little tree. Don't know if you can see that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And just made some notes so that I can have a go at it later. I did just 2 little blobs there and just a little couple of notes.
Wonderful.
So I'll be trying
wonderful.
Brilliant.
And, that's amazing. Amazing.
Requests, happy to do it. My Instagram hasn't been used very much for a long time because I haven't been well, but I'm trying to reactivate it. So yeah, it's a really
you can put a handle in our chat if you wish others to follow you as well.
It's just a really good way. I think especially we forget during lockdown that we've maybe got some logins for stuff, and sometimes it's good to just reactivate stuff.
Yeah.
And I love the drips and the painting behind you. I think that's really relaxing to just watch the paint and, you know, help it, encourage it to run. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Great.
Really?
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Good
Let's
mental
see. Sorry, I didn't hear.
I said good mental health, everybody.
Thank you.
Indeed. And I think that we were, well, I work where you advocate for mental health. You are from Lewisham, Fiona, aren't you? Yeah. So I'm sure we will meet at some point when it's allowed. And I think Nat has her hand up as well.
Okay, I'm going to unmute you and spotlight you.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
I did the first one. I started it, but I kind of stopped it. So I did the watercolor one.
Oh, you've made oh wow! You've got flowers and splashes and dots and lines and everything. That's fantastic. You've even signed it and dated it. That's great.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. It was really nice. I love drawing. My not specialty, but I'm self-taught in drawing abandoned buildings. So the amount of detail I put on those, it's really helping me with my mental health, and it's incredible. Art is. I wish in the future I can do art therapy. But yeah, I'm still new at it. So. I really enjoy this. It's so relaxing. I didn't know about the droplets that we can do with the paintbrush that can be used to get the anger out or the frustration, and I am definitely gonna do that when I'm upset.
Yeah. You just need to focus on it, and you know, when you do those splashes, you need to try to project that you are taking this out of you. Yeah.
I mean, I've actually dipped my hands in paint and just all over a canvas as well, just anything to get that aggression out. And definitely, I mean, try journaling or writing your thoughts on a canvas before you apply the paint. I mean, for me, that's one of the strongest things that I can do, because you're getting it out and then you're covering it up, you know, so it's yours, you know, it's your secret. Nobody else has to know about it.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm writing it down.
Okay, cool.
Great.
Thanks for sharing.
We are running close to the you know, end of the meeting, but Kat would like to share, so let's give Kat an opportunity.
I started with a tree, but I did not end up with a tree at all. I ended up with like a funny hand.
What? Oh my God, that's brilliant.
That's gorgeous.
Doesn't matter. Sometimes it's like that, that something else will emerge, and that's fine. Yeah, brilliant.
I see flames.
Like a very delicate hand.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, but it's so nice when the art takes its own direction. You know, when you start with maybe one thing in mind, and it just does what it wants to do. You know,
yeah,
that's when you.
I do a lot of doodles. I'm really struggling with my work, and I have some difficulties with what I'm achieving in my life. I have no children, no pets, and for me, my career was everything. And I think I've been undermined a lot.
Okay.
So I've decided that this year I was going to do a lot of art, and I am not artistic. I've always been told I was like rubbish.
You are. Look at what you just did.
So I'm trying very hard to concentrate on other things that make me feel good. And doodling, I do Zentangle, and I really like that because it's very specific. And I am a quiller. And being a quilling artist is like very specific. So when I start doing things that I don't expect, it's very unusual for me. So it's like going over these fears of not being perfect, because quilling has to be perfect, because the shapes are accredited. You can't like come away from them. They're just the way they are. And I don't want the hole in the middle, because I hate having the middle, with a hole in my paper. It has to be perfect. So I do it with my fingers until I actually get it without the hole. So working with watercolor or anything with a Sharpie where I don't control, because you just have to go with the flow, for me is really going over what I thought I was able to do. So that was really helpful tonight. I really enjoyed the talk. It's so late and I've had such a week and I'm still here. I can't believe it.
Oh, it's so great to have you.
Glad. Yeah. I have to ask, has anybody tried alcoholing?
Oh, I love alcoholic. Oh, that's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Really nice. And encaustic art. I love encaustic art.
Yeah, and I can
release.
There's no control. I mean, I guess there is. People that are really fantastic at alcohol art can control it. I can't. I just do it for a complete release. I mean, the alcohol ink is flying off the paper, and then I'm trying to get it back onto the paper with my heat gun and my hair dryer, and you just I have no control, and I love it, because you just have to let go. And in the end, you always come out with something gorgeous, always, with alcohol ink. So I highly recommend it to anybody that wants to give it a try.
I think it's the brightness and the splashes are so beautiful.
Yeah. And I find it's so fluid. Everything reminds me of the ocean or the sky, or they're gorgeous.
Oh, yes.
They're gorgeous. Yeah. Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we're at our cutoff time, aren't we?
Well, we are on the dot.
on the dot. Yeah. Gosh.
So I think that it's for some of you it's very late, isn't it? I think, Jennifer, that at your end it's an hour later than in UK, so
that's okay.
It's
Friday.
It was gorgeous having these conversations today, and sharing with you something that helped us, and I think that we will be doing something more together with Jennifer, because we really enjoyed working together, and it was so fascinating to have you all here. And we hope that it helped in some way or inspired, and that we will meet again very soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much. If you took away even one thing, I'm thrilled. And definitely, keep in touch with us. You have our contact details. We'd like to connect with all of you. And thank you so much for being a part of our night. We appreciate it.
I will be sending an email to all attendees with all we talked about, with the questions that appeared about materials. We will compose it together with Jennifer, and probably by Sunday you should have something in your email box with all the links and everything we shared today, really.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Great. Thank you, and have a lovely night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much to the organisers. Stay well, everyone.